Hey Leo, the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can see things very clearly, um, very honest, but also can be a little critical. So I feel like maybe you're watching, um, you're kind of not watching, you're like looking back. You're reminiscing on the past, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I see where things went wrong. I see where things could have been better, what I could have done better, what they could have done better. Because the queen, again, she can be critical. So this means that you still have some feelings where you're going, screw this. But your read last month was really, really positive, and I feel like we're still kind of on that momentum. But the queen is somebody who's, again, insightful and honest. So I feel like there may be conversations you've had or you're going to have if you're not in contact with this person already. I just feel like there's something coming to fruition here between the two of you. And it may be, little by little, but there are going to have to be honest words said. There are going to have to be some hard conversations, I think, for anything to move forward at all. The next card you have is your current position coming into the month. And you have the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles is a generosity, but it's also an abundance, a satisfaction type feeling. However, I always find this card is interesting because it's like a chain, right? And then there's like, it always, I know it's like a skeleton, but it always kind of reminds me of a heart. So I feel like this kind of represents you saying that you want to be happy, you want to be satisfied, you want to be with somebody, you want to make them feel good. You're hoping, that they would make you feel good as well. But the Nine of Pentacles is kind of like, you're focusing on work, you're focusing on a life balance, but you're accomplishing things. You're successful maybe in your career or with your family, or if you have kids, you're feeling very abundant in every aspect of your life except for the love life. But it's not that you feel like you can't unlock this. It's not like you feel like it can't be undone. It's just you're connected to this person, and it's hard when you have such a strong connection to move on. And it's also hard to have such a strong connection without having conversations, which I do still feel like are in the works or coming through for you guys. The next card you have is anything you're feeling coming into the month. And you have Temperance, which is Sagittarius' card. So you could be dealing with a Sag or have Sag placements in your chart. Temperance is patience, it's balance, it's moderation. So I think that's what you're doing right now, Leo. You're not stressing about meeting somebody new. You're not stressing about what happens if we never get back together. You're just kind of like, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. But I have to keep my head on straight. I have to make sure I'm balanced. I have to make sure, again, if you're thinking about this person, you're not obsessing. If you're, if you're trying to get over this person, it's not by like overindulging. You're just kind of trying to keep your own balance while patiently waiting for like the universe or something to unfold to give you a better idea of where you're going, what the future holds. I feel like a lot of you are kind of like, I don't want to say in limbo because you're not stuck. In limbo sometimes makes me feel like you're just kind of hanging out in between. This is kind of like you're willing to be there to kind of see where it might go, but at the same time, you're not going to wait forever. Like there's going to be a time constraint on it. The next card you have is anything in your distant past, the past 5-10 years, could be throughout your childhood. You have the Five of Pentacles. Now, the Five of Pentacles represents loss. And I feel like the reason that this is coming up this month for you is because the universe wants you to understand, like, you've had loss before. If this doesn't come to fruition, you'll be okay. Because you've dealt with loss, you've recovered from loss. It's not fun. It's not, doesn't ever make anybody feel good. We don't hope for loss. We don't hope for the pain, but this is saying, you've been there before. You've had this type of poverty, and I say poverty in the fact that, like, because this is an earth sign card, this represents a impoverished feeling, like a lack of love, a lack of being in a connection with somebody. So you're still connected with this person, but the universe is saying, look, if something happens and that connection doesn't come through, you'll be okay. Now, this is also somebody's watching you or could be watching you or you're watching them. This card always reminds me of somebody paying very close attention to you or you them. Maybe a little social media stalking, nothing major, just watching. And I think maybe it's hand in hand. You're watching each other. Like, you're almost on the precipice of reaching out, or they're almost on the precipice of reaching out. Like, you guys are so... You're thinking about each other so much that it feels like one of you wants to burst right now and just be like, okay, let's talk. The next card you have is your immediate past, so over the past few weeks, past month or so, and you have the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is a frugality, a possessiveness. This is telling me you didn't want to put your heart out on the line. You haven't wanted to in a couple months, or they don't, or together. You know, this can be equal, because I really do, like I said, feel like this connection is still very strong. The Four of Pentacles, though, is you holding on tight, saying, I'm not going to be the first one to say anything. I'm not going to be the first one to contact you. It's like a stubbornness on your part, their part, or both of yours, and also holding those emotions in, not willing to just throw them back out there. You're kind of like, you know, I used to wear my heart on my sleeve for you. I'm not willing to do that anymore right now. Like, you're going to have to work for it, because I'm just not, like, I'm not going down this road with you again just to get hurt. Because I feel like there was something that they did, maybe it was you, but I feel like a lot of this is towards Leo, where this person was dishonest, or they treated you just badly, like, towards the end, just stopped, like, taking care of your heart, or stopped worrying about your feelings, and it just feels, it's sad. If it's a sadness or a grief, and you're trying to expel that. The next card you have is your distant future. So over the next few months, and you have the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is charging forward. This is moving forward. This is somebody who is like racing on. This is saying, okay, you know, what are we doing? And I feel like this almost says, hey, you guys will have a conversation, you'll start talking, and maybe you'll move forward a lot more quickly than you think, because the Knight of Wands is energetic. It's daring, confident, charming. Now, you could be meeting somebody else and moving forward, but again, this is very daring. So I feel like somebody's going to be coming through and saying, okay, let's have a conversation. But also, maybe somebody's kind of, there was like a grass is greener type scenario, and now they're going, oh shit, I messed up. I really care about this Leo. This Leo is a fantastic person. I need to get him back. I need to earn this back. And maybe you doing that, but for the most part, I feel like it's your ex or somebody you're dealing with who all of a sudden has this moment of like, what am I doing? I'm not meeting people better. I'm not finding an attraction with anybody I like better. The connection I have with this Leo is still really strong. I can't let that go. This makes me feel very good. In fact, I just got this like overwhelming chills and like my stomach lurching forward, but not in a bad way, more of like a, what am I doing? Why am I sitting around here waiting? Like, I feel like the window is closing and I can't lose out on this like opportunity to get back together with this person. The next card you have is Leo's card. Strength. So you show up in your read, and if you've seen my reads, you know that I love it when you show up in your read, because that means to me you're being the most authentic person you can be. Now, we all strive, or most of us strive to be authentic or true to ourselves, but come on, let's face it, we BS ourselves in love. We know when we should quit. We know we should end it. We know when we should be patient. We know, but do we follow it? Or you know, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. Everybody's like that. But when you show up in your read, it tells me you really know what you want. Whether you want this to be over or not, you're really getting to the point where you're making that decision and you're finally going to stick with it. Maybe you've gone round and round and round, breakup, makeup, breakup, makeup, and now this is like, okay, this is the last chance. If we get back together, I'll give it tenfold. I'll expect them to do the same. And if we're not going to get back together, I'm never going to think about this person again. So I really feel like a lot of you are at that place. You love this person. You have the connection. They love you. They have the connection still. But you know you can't continue on this way, and they know that as well. Now, your card is based on strength, but also on patience, and also on connections, and understanding. It's a control card, understanding what you can control and what you can't control, and then allowing the universe to step in and take the reins on areas that you know you can't. So this right now is you being strong, sticking with this patience and saying, okay, I'm going to stick it out a little longer, but maybe putting a time frame on it. Maybe saying, you know what? All right, I'll give it 60 days or 90 days. And if we can't come together, if I don't hear from this person, if I try and contact them and they don't reciprocate, then I'm done. Because again, Leo, I feel like you're in a place where you're like ready to make a move, whether it's going to be painful or not. You just know you need to make some sort of move in your life in order to just heal, and in order to move forward with this person, or, you know, lick your wounds and move on. The next card you have is anything tangible that's going to happen throughout the month. And you have the Queen of Swords. So she's showing up here twice. That's your theme, and she's here. So this is that difficult conversation I told you about, Leo. If you guys start communicating, it's not going to be roses and butterflies. You're going to have to practice this patience, because there's some things that need to be said. You're honest. You're insightful. The Queen is very critical, though. And I feel like there are some things that need to be said. I feel like there are some things that have been done to you, maybe by you, but I'm going, this is about Leo for me when I read. So for me, I feel like there are some things that you're kind of like, no, before we move any further, before we feel this energetic passion, before we feel this Knight of Wands, we have some things to say. We need to get things out in the open, because we're not having the conversations we should be having. It's almost like you guys say you're going to talk about it or whatever, and then it just turns into a fight because it's never discussed, or there's an elephant in the room, or yeah, I promise I'll be better at this, or yeah, I'll promise. No, this is kind of like you saying, there's no bullshit here. If you contact me, we're having this conversation, whether you like it or not, and then we'll clear the air and be done with it. That's the other thing too, Leo. If you guys have this conversation, then my advice would be, hey, have the conversation, but make sure if it's about lies or cheating, or if it's about something, if you want this person back or they want you back, whatever was done between you two needs to be like, okay, a line drawn in the sand. We will not discuss this anymore. I will not throw it in your face 24/7. You will not throw it in my face 24/7. Like, let's have this conversation, then let's bury it, and we both agree never again. Okay? We won't discuss. If we're going to move forward, we're going to move forward. And if we're not going to move forward, fine. But then let's end the connection and both agree we're moving on. The next card you have is how you're feeling throughout the month. It could be the beginning, middle, end, last for a day, an hour, etc. And you have the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords is about defense. So I feel like there may be a point this month where you're feeling like you're defending your actions. Maybe if this person is like, but I love you, I want to get back together, or whatever it is, you're going to be like, well, we have some conversations to have, because your core being right now says there's some sort of manipulation, some sort of strategy involved. So your worry is, okay, they're reaching out to me, or I'm going to reach out to them, we're going to communicate, but how can I tell if that manipulation or deception is gone? Because at one point in time, you were like, I'd rather be alone than deal with the bullshit. I'd rather be alone than worry that you're lying or not telling me the truth. So you're trying to figure out this month, Leo, how can I get to a happy place where, let's say we do reconnect, or we do start talking again, or we do come together again. How can I get to the point where I trust this person and they trust me, to where we can honor each other, we can value each other, and we're not going to be scared every 5 seconds that, oh, is that bullshit coming out of his mouth, or is she lying about this, etc. So this month, you're really going to be, I feel like the communication is coming and big time. And last month was so positive that I feel like this month is more about, okay, like now we have the communication, or now we address the connection or the fact we still have feelings, but we need to get the nitty gritty out. Like, I need the next 90 days for your phone to be open and clear. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but like somebody out there saying, well, he or she's always hiding their phone and texting, like there needs to be some sort of like the next 30 days, next 60, 90 days, in order for me to feel comfortable and safe in this relationship. This is what I need from you. This is what I need from you. And that's okay, because when somebody does something like cheats or treats somebody badly or betrays somebody's trust, if you want that back or you want them back, you have to earn that back, and it takes a while. It's not overnight. It's a process, and if it's worth it, you'll stick to it. The next card you have are your hopes and fears for the outcome, and you have the Page of Cups, which is childlike emotion. It's innocence. So I feel like your hope is that you guys can get to the point where you can see this in a whole new light. You can see this in a beginning, in childlike eyes, so to speak, like in innocence, to where, you don't let the past haunt you. You don't dwell in the past. You guys don't finger point anymore. Your hope is, can we get past it all and start anew? Your final card is the outcome of the month, and you have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is a holiness, a spirituality. This is what I was talking about right here with your card showing up, about having the High Priestess run the show in areas you can't control, Leo. Because I think the biggest thing right now is just the patience, the waiting. And I think for some of you, it's tearing on you. All these cards popped out, so I'm not going to take all those. It's wearing on you. It literally is like a wear and tear, a waiting game, because you know the connection's there. You know they know the connection's there, but it's still, it's about, you just have to be patient. I feel like, Leo, you could really move into something very positive here if, isn't that funny? You could really move into something very positive here if you have the patience to withstand the wait, to withstand the mystery of it right now. Because I think for some of you, it's really grinding on you, and you're kind of like, okay, that's fantastic, but when the fuck is this actually going to happen? There's no time stamp on it, right? I can't give, time is relevant. It could happen tomorrow. It could have happened to you last week. It could happen to you in a month. But I find it interesting that you have the High Priestess twice. I like that. Now, 2s could be a number that's significant for you. 2 times, 2 weeks, 2 months, the second of the month, etc. But the High Priestess is saying, wait for it. It's coming. If it's meant to be, it will come back in full circle. Now, what I like here is you have the 10 of Pentacles crowning this Knight of Wands, because I feel like there is a rush to energy coming up in the next few months. There is somebody's panicking, and I feel like it may be them. Cross watchers, you can say it's Leo, that's fine. But I feel like it's them kind of going, wait, I've had what I've wanted this whole time. And now you have the Ten of Pentacles, which is an excess, a legacy. This is you possessing more than enough, or more than what they could ever have imagined having or wanting or needing in a person, but they didn't recognize it. And now with the Ten of Pentacles coming out, it tells me they recognize or see that there's a legacy here, a long legacy, building legacy, kids, grandkids, etc. So Leo, I really still feel a very positive vibe about a reconciliation between the two of you. It's going to take some patience, and it may really start grinding on you. And that's when you're going to have to leave it up in God's hands or the universe's hands, whatever you believe in, and just say, look, I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to have patience. I'm going to enjoy my life right now. I'm going to focus on other things, focus on work, focus on your kids. Easier said than done, I know. But I truly believe if you do, there's a higher power, something much bigger than you in action, in play here. And I feel like it could be very successful. All right, Leo,